these police officers today receive the department's coveted life-saving award. As best we can determine, it's been several years since life-saving award has been presented, but both of these cases rise to the level of a department commendation of this sort. Officer Chris Sanderson, on 6/13/2010 at about 6:10 p.m., Officer Chris Sanderson was working a detail at the San Luis Pass, operating the department's four-wheel drive mule in an effort to curb the use of four-wheelers and other beach violations at the pass. While Officer Sanderson, Officer Morris, and Sergeant Stewart were dealing with the driver of a vehicle that Officer Sanderson had stopped, a subject ran up to Officer Sanderson, wet and grasping for breath, stating that someone was in the water drowning, and then he collapsed from exhaustion. Without hesitation, Officer Sanderson removed his uniform, shoes, and gun belt, grabbed his lifeguard swim buoy, which he had brought with him on this detail, and entered the water. Sergeant Stewart advised dispatch to roll the beach patrol and that Officer Sanderson had entered the water as a rescue swimmer. The distressed swimmer was located about 100+ yards from shore and brought back to safety by Officer Sanderson alone, all the while towing an exhausted, weak swimmer and fighting strong currents the whole time. EMS arrived and transported the young man to John Seeley Hospital for observation due to his intake of seawater and his near drowning. The subject that ran up to Officer Sanderson was a relative of the young boy and had already tried to rescue the young man himself, but was unable to overcome the current and was pushed back to shore. Had it not been for Officer Sanderson's prior training as a lifeguard with the Galveston Beach Patrol, his physical stamina, his determination, and his preparedness for such an event, Galveston would have had another drowning fatality this date. Instead, and because of his efforts, 14-year-old Julio Rodriguez will live to see another day. Thank you, Officer Sanderson.
I was just thankful that the other two officers were there with me. That way, my subjects were still secured, and they can still receive their citations for what they did. Also, on a second note, I really appreciate all the support lately. I know I had a long battle with cancer, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my family at GPD and all my doctors at MD Anderson. So I'd like to thank all y'all for everything y'all done for me.
Officer Joneka Loyd, on 8/2/2009 at about 3 p.m. while working an off-duty assignment at Alfeld Park Security, Officer Loyd received a flag down by an emotional patron, Linda Ramirez, that was visiting the area east of Boudica Road. Ms. Ramirez was screaming in desperation and asking for help, stating that her husband, Mario Perez Trejo, was drowning and pointed out toward the ship channel. Officer Loyd scanned the ship channel and observed the unoccupied yellow flotation device drifting southeast away from the shoreline. Officer Loyd called in the emergency and without hesitation rode her ATV into the surf as far as close as to the area of concern as she could in an attempt to rescue the swimmer in distress. When she could not go any further, Officer Loyd dismounted the ATV and continued further into the surf in full uniform. In the confusion, a second patron, Rolando Murillo, also swam into the surf about 150 yards, attempting to assist Mr. Trejo. Ms. Murillo became winded and had to return to shore, also requiring assistance. Officer Loyd, along with Galveston Island Beach Patrol lifeguard, went out and assisted both Mr. Murillo and Mr. Trejo back to safety. After interviewing Mr. Trejo, it was discovered that he had floated out too far in the ship channel on the flotation device and was unable to guide it back to shore because of the current. He decided to jump off the flotation device and swim back to shore, although he quickly exhausted himself due to strong currents. Officer Loyd has always displayed professional and knowledgeable demeanor. However, in this situation, Officer Loyd demonstrated extreme courage and duty to save a life. And for that, she's commended and awarded the Galveston Police Department Life Saving Award on this, the 29th of June,